Every human being is controlled by a government or political structure in a consumer-based society. Ever since the human race became social beings, there has been a hierarchy or order amongst various groups, and therefore we have essentially always been controlled by something other than our natural instinct. In primitive times, it was the elders, chiefs, and shamans who dominated the hierarchy, as their enlightenment or intelligence set them apart from the others in the tribe. This awareness and knowledge was kept secret, because to reveal it would be to give control to anyone that would possess it. Over time, as our species advanced, our intellect and measures of control also evolved, and secret societies like the Knights Templar and Babylonian mystery schools were created to maintain this enlightenment. In order to comprehend the vastness of this concept, we must look at it in a very basic but interesting way. This historical investigation can be seen as a puzzle. Once certain pieces are connected, we start to see the bigger picture. Just as a puzzle has X amount of pieces, each piece should be viewed as a question, and these questions will only fit together when the right questions are asked. The human mind in modern times is like that of a shattered puzzle, and because of the manipulation of news, history, and the control of the general public, it is extremely hard to figure out which questions to ask to be able to fit the pieces of the puzzle together. The word occult, when it is literally translated, means hidden, and the system is designed to confuse us, so that we will never see what is truly happening in the world in which we live. The people who control this system are like the character of the Wizard of Oz, mostly unknown entities designing and controlling the world's activities through various systems and never revealing their true identities or intentions. Most people remain unaware of these people's identities or intentions due to their methods of maintaining their secrecy, and their influence on the masses of the world's population is completely astounding and overwhelming. It is nearly impossible to escape the effect of this power structure due to our need and dependency on this system they have created, and it is quite unfortunate that many people will have never reached their full potential as human beings in this lifetime due to the psychological effects the system has bestowed upon them. Many of you may think that you are not influenced by this system, or you have taken steps to protect yourself from it, but nearly all people on planet Earth are the product of a pre-designed reality they are not able to escape from. A simple way to find out if you have been affected by it is by using basic mathematics. If you look at each day of your life in 24 hours like the planet already does, you can determine how much you are using your potential by splitting your day into pieces. Many people work jobs to support themselves and their families, or attend school so that as we grow older, we can get better paying jobs to support ourselves and our families. We can call this piece occupation, meaning that this time is occupied and designated to the maintaining of our life and to ensure we have the money to be able to afford the things we need to survive each day. The next piece we will call the ethereal, which represents the time we spend recharging our batteries during sleep so that we can maintain ourselves mentally and physically on a daily basis. The third piece we will call responsibility, which would be the time we spend either driving to work or school, eating to maintain hunger, brushing our teeth, showering, and generally taking care of ourselves while we are awake to ensure our health and general maintenance. The final piece of our equation would then be our potential piece, which represents the amount of time we have remaining each day to expand our potential by spending time with our families, independent learning, hobbies and leisure activities, and general free time to relax and be able to tap into our life on a personal, spiritual, and developmental level. The resulting percentage or number of hours left over is often quite low and is evidence that we are living in a very strange and constricting world where we are literally making a living. The unfortunate truth of the matter is, much of the time we spend living our lives is dedicated to basic survival, a struggle to maintain a source of income to pay for the absolute and bare minimal things we need to survive as human beings on this earth. These things are food, water, and appropriate shelter. Without those things, we would all die and our species would cease to exist. Furthermore, those basic necessities are often what consumes most of our paychecks, and along with the need for things like a card or transportation to work each day, communication so we have access to each other to maintain our progress, and other such important things to help our maintenance, many families all over the world are left with very little money left over to afford extras such as entertainment, vacations or travel, educational materials, and items for hobbies and personal interests. It is for this reason the music industry stopped selling albums, and movie stores and record stores are becoming a thing of the past. Essentially, we live in a world where in order to survive, we have to conform from the moment we are born and given a birth certificate to be a product of our society. Much of the youth in modern times are programmed from a very young age to accept and conform to this system or matrix, and are thought of as product or stock by the controlling forces of the world government system. While parents go to work, their children are brought to daycare centers before they are sent to school to begin their education. All of this time the parents are slowly getting more and more disconnected from their children and allowing a system to input its teachings, opinions, and control methods into play. Kids are brought to school and work starts very early in the morning to ensure that as we grow older, it is normal to wake up to an alarm clock every morning. This cuts off our connection to our subconscious and very important dream world, in which we will discuss further at a later time during this documentary. We are also taught that in order to get a job in a field that we would enjoy doing for large extended periods of time, we need to get specialized or post-secondary education, which costs us thousands of dollars and puts a large debt on everyone as soon as they complete their studies. This debt usually takes a long time to pay back at high interest rates, and students are often forced to take jobs that are not related to their studies. The cost for the initial education received is often quite large, and often a waste of money, time, and years of their lives, especially if they are not employed in the field or area of study. If a student changes their mind, it is also quite expensive to change their course or to continue education. The system is designed to ensure a majority of the public are ensnared within this vicious cycle. The struggle for survival, and essentially the concept of money itself, is the basis for much of the stress of people in the world. The stress on the human mind in modern times is much more than that of people of previous generations, because the system is designed to keep us in fear of the establishment. As we have seen time and time again, when someone does not adhere and rebels against their governments, they are often silenced or nullified using various methods and techniques. Celebrities are killed or humiliated through the media for speaking out against the establishment in order to diminish their power to make change for a better world. Mainstream media teaches us that we should spend our money on pointless objects, and the music we hear on the radio tells us to go to the bar and spend our money on sexual desires. The news reports the bad news first, and negative events are headlined to instill fear amongst the people that absorb the information. The energy of our emotions then affects the planet itself, which is why there is so much chaos and disruption happening in our world today. This is also part of their plan, to remove our rights and freedoms and maintain control and domination over the population.
It has been shown that our emotions have a vibratory frequency to them. Furthermore, there are only two emotions that humankind experiences: fear and love. All other emotions branch either directly or indirectly from these two emotions. Fear has a long and slow frequency vibration to it, while love has a very rapid and high frequency. To show that vibration is the very foundation of existence, Hans Jenne developed what is known as cymatics in the 1940s to show that when vibrations of sound are passed through a form of media, there is a set pattern that will follow. When the frequency increases, the media develops into a more complex pattern. This is precisely what is happening to our Earth and to humanity. There are 64 possible codes of amino acids in our DNA structure made from 4 elements: carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen. By any means of logic, we should have all 64 codes activated within our DNA structure, yet we presently only have 20 active codes.
And of these 64 possibilities, it appears that only 20 of these codes are turned on right now for us, the 20 amino acids. There is a switch that turns off and turns on where those coding sites lie, and that the switch for that turning off and turning on is what we call emotion. And this is the first time that we've ever seen the patterns of emotion directly physically linked to human genetic material. Well, fear is a long, slow wave of emotion. So this wave of fear is a long, slow wave and touches relatively few sites on this DNA. So an individual living in fear is limited to the number of antenna that they have available to them. Whereas an individual living in the pattern of love, this is love in DNA. You can see it's a higher frequency, shorter wavelength. We have many more potential sites for coding along that genetic pattern. This information, this is amazing. This is the first time we've ever had a hard digital link between emotion and genetics.
It's consciousness. And there's an ocean of pure, vibrant consciousness inside each one of us. And it's right at the source and base of mind, right at the source of thought, and it's also at the source of all matter. And Maharishi Mahesh Yogi teaches a technique called Transcendental Meditation. It's a simple, easy, effortless technique, yet supremely profound, that allows any human being to dive within, experiencing subtler levels of mind and intellect, and transcend and experience this ocean of pure